Hello, everyone. This is Jill Toro with SC Media, and I am very happy to be joined today by Claire Rosso. She is CEO of ISC Squared, joining us today to talk a little bit about our topic for women in IT security of diversity and encouraging or enabling more diversity in the workforce. So Claire, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks, Jill. It's great to be here with you.
You come to us with kind of a long background in supporting associations. So I am curious, with the topic that we're chatting about today, like, what are your initial thoughts in terms of the world of cybersecurity training, enabling more expertise for career development? How does it compare to some of the other industries that you've looked at?
That's a great question. And so, actually, and I'm nearing my 1-year anniversary here. And one of the things that it struck me immediately about cybersecurity professionals, I was actually really impressed with, is I think a lot of professions talk about lifelong learning. And I feel like cybersecurity professionals live it, right? They know things are dynamic and changing all the time, so they need to stay up. And whether that's formal learning or informal means, but there seems to be a very deep commitment to lifelong learning, which is fantastic across the industry. Yeah. I would say one of the other things that parallels experience in other industries as well is there's talk, right, about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And where are we representationally in cybersecurity in the profession versus where we aspire to be? I think that there's some parallels between industries in that people have been talking about we need to be more diverse for a long time, right? We want to represent the population we want to mirror the population. Sorry about that. We want to mirror the population we represent. So we want to see gender diversity. We want to see racial and ethnic diversity. And it seems like a lot of professions have hit a wall, right? They've hit, and this, so for example, in cybersecurity, we have never been able to see a number, except for a little glimpse now in the future, of females making up more than 25% of the profession. And if you go to certain parts of the globe, they'd say there's no way that females are at 25%. It's like 9%, right? It's less. And we seem to have just hit a wall and stopped. Now, what's encouraging is we did some research earlier this year, and we saw that the younger the professional is entering the profession, the more likely they are to be a woman. So that 25% went up over 30%, right? Not quite at that 50-50 place we want to be, but a move in the right direction. At the same time, those individuals less likely to come from an IT background, which also I thought was fascinating. Now, the unfortunate news is as you watch the trend with women with more experience, they seem not to necessarily stay in the profession. So retention becomes a really big issue.
Yeah, something that I hear a lot of times too is that it's a challenge of, and part of this goes back to retention, but of being able to get the leadership positions and, basically move past some of those entry level. And I hear a lot that mentorship is great, but that what people are really are looking for is advocacy, people to advocate for them in terms of new opportunities, moving beyond their position, in the here and now. So I would imagine actually certifications and a lot of what your organization does helps in that regard, but do you see more women taking advantage of that as a means to kind of further their career?
So that is, I think you make a really good point. Mentorship typically is, if you, Jill, are mentoring me, I'm coming to you and asking you questions. I'm asking you questions about your experience and how you dealt with particular challenges. And that's very helpful. And we see that and hear that's helpful. Advocacy obviously is a step beyond that, and that's you are proactively supporting me in advancing in my career. And we hear that people want that and people need that. And one of the reasons it's particularly true for diverse populations in cybersecurity is because people don't see individuals in leadership roles necessarily that are like them.
Yeah.
It's that truism of you cannot be what you cannot see. And so if they don't see women in leadership positions, or they don't see racial diversity in leadership positions, they think, oh, well, this organization doesn't want people like me. And especially when that's the case, that advocacy bit becomes more important. Yes, we'd like individuals to kind of advocate for themselves and their own advancement, but we're going to also need to help people along.
Yeah. And actually it's funny too, because the other factor that comes up a lot is talking about the benefit of having women as a part of the workforce, because they're very, what I am told often is they're very good at the soft skills. And to me, that's almost like, again, relegating women to a very particular role in an organization. I understand why it's said, but it's sort of like, I don't know. So it's that technical capabilities that I think, you know, is also a challenge for women to be brought in and get a seat at that table and, you know, really kind of move forward. We're seeing it more, but I do think they tend to get relegated to certain types of roles.
So interesting. I think I want to banish the term soft skills.
Yes,
like I think
same.
that feels squishy and unimportant. You could eat it, it would be gone.
Yeah.
So instead, it's really about non-technical skills, and they are powerful non-technical skills that we need in cybersecurity.
Yeah.
We need analytical thinking. We need critical thinking. We need the ability to work in a group and individually. Not everyone has that capability, right? We need problem solving skills. And then we also, I think if you look at the top 10, those were the top 5, we also need communication skills, right?
Yeah.
And those are all part of being those part of a diverse team that organizations need to solve problems. And in cybersecurity, we're solving lots of problems every day. So the more diversity of thought, experience, technical and non-technical skills you have on your team, the better, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit more about this research you all did. I know it's not out yet, but do you have any kind of little bit of a summary or preview you can offer?
Yeah. I'm going to tell you a tiny bit about research we did this spring, and then I'll tell you about the research that we're going to release shortly, right around our Security Congress. So we did do research this spring about people pursuing cybersecurity careers, and we did see more people, more likely to be women earlier, more likely to come from non-IT backgrounds, which is really positive in terms of thinking about diversity of individuals, and more likely to actually be younger than their male counterparts. So younger women, the women coming in are more likely to be younger than men who often might be on a second career moving into security. So that was interesting. And so a follow-up to that, right, to understand, okay, this is good. What else do we need to do? How will we retain women and other minorities in the profession? We did some diversity, equity, and inclusion qualitative research where we actually used a research firm to talk to individuals around the globe about their experience in cybersecurity. And we saw a lot of things I think we intuitively knew, but it was good for us to hear. And it did talk about, I can't see people like me in the organization, so I don't know that I belong there. Recruiting practices that are very inclusive in terms of attracting diverse individuals into the organization. But once they get there, we expect you to be and behave like everyone else, right? That whole individuality that we hired you for, we don't really want that anymore. Now we want you to be like us. But I think something that came up that was really interesting, and I've also noted this while talking to individuals in the profession, is it's not just gender, it's not just race, it is also education background and specific work experience that you come from. And so I think that we need to address that as well. So it really goes back to well, you're not like me. And if you're not like me, I'm not going to recruit you because you're uncertain to me. And so we need to just kind of work through that and get to a better place than where we are.
Absolutely. Terrific. Well, this has been great. I appreciate the time. And any closing thoughts?
You know what? It's a great opportunity. And I've seen a lot of commitment across the board in the profession to enacting change, not just talking about it. And again, I think it's what makes the cybersecurity profession unique is people understand the dynamicism. Did I get that word right? Their role of their roles and the environment within which they're operating, and change is required for them to be successful going forward.
Yeah, progress. I guess it's all about moving in the right direction for sure. Well, thank you so much, and thank you everybody for joining us. And we want to thank you, Claire, so much for your support of the program.
Great work that you're doing. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.